as a small biz pro, and so we grow using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Christo
and Coach Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And folks, we want to say happy National Women's Business Month. And this is the third. Is it the third or second? Third, right?
Third week.
The third week of the month celebrating National Women's Business Month. And my co-host, Crystal, as you can see, she's a female. We're celebrating her too.
And we've just been so blessed this month. We've had some amazing ladies on the program telling their stories, and they've just been awesome. So we have another amazing lady today, and then we have there's 5 Fridays in this month, so
which is good.
We should have another 2 coming up in the next 2 weeks. So excited. And Gilbert, as you always like to say, women are like those are your favorite clients.
That's right.
And so today I was on a panel. I spoke at a panel of 24 women. It was a women's summit. I spoke with them years and years ago, before the pandemic, and it was just so amazing listening to these women. We each had about 20 minutes, and it was pretty awesome. I mean, just amazing. It just and we were all there to uplift each other. And when we had our meeting the other day, they were talking about if anyone have a podcast, let's exchange. I'll be on your podcast, you be on my podcast, so that we can cross promote with each other and help to grow each other's audience. And it felt really good. It was and they were all pretty powerful. They were from all over the country.
Very good.
And so one of the ladies, her name is Amy Walker. She's a marketing consultant. And so she has some really great information. I'm going to be waiting for the replay of it so that I can, because some of them I couldn't catch because I had workshops and classes, and my schedule. My schedule is intense, man. Intense.
Well, it looked like your logo behind you is flipped.
Oh, it's backwards? Oh, let me fix it. It's interesting because I was on somebody else's the platform I was on earlier. Yeah. I had to flip it back.
I think that's what happened with the Google Meet. If you use Google Meet, that's what happened, man. It turned things back.
That was for the dyslexic people.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm back straight now.
I got to make sure that my co-host looks good on air, because
thank you much.
We never know when that $1 million contract will come in,
Right, exactly. So how was your week?
Oh man, my week was mixed. It was good. I did my second class. I have a 8-class procurement contract readiness series that I'm doing with the Hispanic Coalition of Small Business, and I'm the procurement chair for that organization. So we did the first class last Wednesday, and this past Wednesday, we did the second class. This one was on capability statement. So we did it at the Pomona Hispanic Chambers of Commerce. So it was good attendance. We had 32 people. And it was great. It was great. Awesome. It was raining, but it was great.
So this was in person. You had to do it.
Yeah, that one was in person. I really didn't want to, but they said, my people, because they're saying my people need to have you in person so we can translate it live. So we had a translator there, so It was good. It was good.
Okay, well that's good. That's good. Fernando, hello. We're glad to have you back again this week. And so thank you for coming back out and continue to support the Business Zone with Crystal
Hey,
and Gilbert.
Fernando, welcome back to the Business Zone, my brother. Remember, we're getting ready to get you on here in April, man. So just get those information and your business stuff ready, because we're going to put you live on the air.
You know, Dr. Gilbert, I was telling someone I was I'm inviting somebody else in April. And it appears that we're going to have all men in April. And it came to me when I was inviting this person. It's like, is there a men's business month?
You know, I'm gonna have to do some research. I know April is Small Business Month, but I don't know if there's a men's business. We gotta check that out. We gotta get some equality going on.
So we're gonna make April Men's Business Month.
There we go.
Already got pretty much most men on the show coming in. So
there
you
go.
I didn't know, and I thought, wow, I wonder if there. And I didn't do my research, so we're gonna make it that way. Since
Fernando said we need to have one.
Right? So we're gonna make April Men's Business Month, and so most of the guests that we're going to have on in April are going to be men. So there we have it. So Fernando, we're looking forward to having you. I think we have Ambrose already signed up, and I have a couple other guys that I'm going to bring in for that. So
you know, co-host, you brought up a good point there, because I'm doing some research right now. I haven't seen anything on Men's Business Month. What is going on?
No love for the men.
No love for the men. So it looks like Fernando is going to be one of our first to be inaugurated in the Men's Business Month celebration.
Yes, and we're going to call on the Business Zone. We don't know about everybody else's, but we're going to call for us that April is going to be Men's Business Month. We're going to support you guys and highlight you and nourish you and give y'all some love too, because we've been loving all over the sisters all month. And it's been awesome. So I think there should be equity in this.
That's right. That's right.
That's what we're going to do. Okay, so we'll honor you and all the other guys that are out there doing amazing things.
That sounds like a plan. Fernando said, let's go.
So you guys are tuned into the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. We're on every Friday afternoon at 3:00, and we are streaming live right at the present moment, and on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So we're asking you guys to go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe. You can take a picture of the QR code and it will take you to our channel. Please hit that subscription button. We are on a campaign and a mission to grow our subs so that we can monetize the Business Zone. So we need your help to do that.
All right. Sounds great. Sounds great. So, and guys, remember, if you need, from time to time, we'll do class in session. When we don't have a guest on, we'll have class in session. That means we'll cover certain courses here live on air, which might benefit your business. We may cover bookkeeping. We may cover accounting. We may cover management skills, leadership skills, back office setup and management. We may look at procurement. We may even look at government certifications. You never know what we'll cover. So, stay tuned and make sure when you subscribe, you put your information, and this subscription is free. So just remember that you don't have to pay anything. When you hit the subscribe button on YouTube, then we will be able to send you alerts, notification, and let you know when these classes are coming up.
Awesome. So in tribute celebrating Women's Business Month, one of the things we just want to capture in the beginning of the show is that women are the epitome of courage, hope, and life. Gilbert and I have talked about this. All of us have mothers, and we learned so much from them. And for us as females, we learned how to be strong and how to tackle challenges and obstacles that were in a way as as well as being nurtured and loved by them. You know, and it was so funny today. I was talking to my niece who lives in Cairo with her baby, and she's basically, her husband is working in another country. So really she's like a single mother because he's not there to help her out. And so I was encouraging her this morning to be strong, because she was feeling like everything was coming down on her and she is tired and the baby was clingy and just giving her a hard time today. And she goes, I haven't even fed myself. I was like, okay, well, that's just talking until you feel calm.
Right.
And some of the baby's clinginess was because she was feeling her mother's tension. So, and I tell you, motherhood is tough, man.
Right,
You got this one little human that it needs you for everything. And while they're that little bitty, she's less than a year old, she's 8 months old. They can't exist without a mom. So none of us could exist without the woman that gave birth to us and who nurtured and cared for us. So let's take a pledge this Women's Day that we will make the world a better place to live for all of us. And especially for our children. And women, to you guys, I want you to know you are bold, beautiful, compassionate, and caring. So we're wishing you all a happy Women's Month.
Right.
So live it, stand in your glory during this month.
That's right. And some additional good news for women-owned businesses. In 2022, according to Forbes magazine, women-owned businesses, they had higher earning growth of 27% in 2022 versus the male-owned firms that had a 22% increase. So that's 5% increase over the male-owned businesses in 2022 for women-owned businesses. So if that's any consolation, ladies, this is showing a positive trajectory for your business. You're growing faster than the male-owned businesses.
Wow. Okay. All righty. So now I got a little added trivia here. So everybody knows today is, and if we worked in corporate America, we'd all have on green right now because we'd be doing the March 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day, right?
Oh, that's what I didn't even remember that.
That's because you don't work in corporate America. But here's a little tidbit. So, you know, when I did work in the corporate America and everybody was going to like pinch you if you didn't have on green and all that sort of stuff. So here's a little tidbit. And this is actually coming because so many of us have had our DNA done through Ancestry or 23andMe, right? Yeah. So there are literally 38% of the African Americans in this country that have Irish ancestry. Either coming from Ireland or Scotland, as these were the slave traders, and so many of us are some of our ancestors impregnated our African ancestors, and so you too can wear your green if that's what you feel like doing. You might have a little conflict though, a little internal conflict might be going.
Conflict. Well, you know, co-host, my last name is Scottish too, so I guess.
Yeah, there you go. Buchanan is
yeah.
So you need to have it on your green, dude.
I was one of those slaves, man, that was owned by the Scottish. So.
Yeah, just thought I'd throw that in there. But I'm going to throw something else in before we actually start the show. Did you hear about what San Francisco's doing and talking about for reparations?
No, tell me about it.
Okay, so this one was pretty big. Let me give it, because there's actually a task force that's been working on reparations, and this is very apropos after
is this out of the governor's office?
So here's what is happening. It was on the news yesterday. So San Francisco actually has a board that is working on reparations for the African American community. And so in that, let me see what's happening here. Why won't it let me continue to the site? Okay. So San Francisco's board opened up this morning yesterday with reparations of $5 million payout to every African American who is a descendant of a slave. The payout of $5 million to every eligible Black adult.
So each one of us will get 5 million.
Now this is San Francisco, so they got to work on this.
We're gonna have to relocate.
Right. So the state of California is 360,000 at this point. But yesterday, San Francisco came out the box with some whole another agenda. So that agenda is 5 million to every eligible Black adult, the elimination of personal debt and tax burdens, guaranteed income of at least 97,000 for 250 years, and homes in San Francisco for $1 a family.
Man, that sounds good, man. See, here's the deal. We know that the American government have made over 400, I would say over 500 treaties with minorities, primarily the Native Americans. They made over 400 with them, and with us they made about 50 to 100 treaties. They never carried out one of them. They never honored one of them. So I'm not getting too excited about this. I'm being very apprehensive. This is ridiculous, man. They put the carrot in front of us and keep waving it, but we never get to eat that carrot.
Well, they're literally working on it. Now, here's the thing for this proposal. This is not the one for the entire state. So I would assume they'd have to adjust because you can't give half the state, not even half. So the dynamics or the demographics in San Francisco is they're literally 50,000 or 58,000 Blacks that live in Oakland. Most of the Black people that live in the Bay Area live in Oakland. So that's about 58,000 of them. And there's a very small percentage in San Francisco and some of the other surrounding cities. But however, the whole entire state of California, there's 2.15 million Black people in the state of California. Yeah, so they've been looking at reparations here at 360,000 for every eligible Black adult. But I like the fact, and so there's a task force on this, and I like the fact that the elimination of tax burdens. I mean, because if you're going to balance if you're going to create this equality, you got to be able to help them be able to develop and be able to create a generational wealth, right? So
how is the elimination of tax burden going to work? How's that going to work?
Well, this is all put on the table. They're still got to go. They got to still do their research, and they still got to do their voting on the bill. But there is actually a bill out there that we all voted on for reparations, and it's 3121. In fact, and for those of you that are interested, in LA County, Supervisor Holly Mitchell, it has these groups every month. It's called Racial Justice. I've gone to a couple of them. There's one next week that I will be going to. So in May, there is actually one on reparations. So at that point, we should be able to get some more information, but it's actually a bill, and it's a task force that's in place. And but you can actually attend the Racial Justice Learning Exchange, and the next meeting is going to be on the next meeting is Pride in Place, and it's about community. But in May is going to be Black and Indigenous reparations. So definitely need to get information and be supportive of this, because I think this is the problem. They've come up before, but we don't. Right. We don't believe it. So we don't, but it's never got to a place where we actually voted on it. So they're going to be talking about that. And the more knowledgeable we are in what's happening in pertaining to us, and have a voice and say so. But you can't do that without information.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that even though we're skeptical, we should still try to support those initiatives, because we never know which direction it may go in. You see what I'm saying? And I think part of the reason over the years is that a lot of us were apprehensive of it, so therefore we didn't support it. So So
and it never got to a place where we were voting on it. It never
yeah,
got to actual legislation. So it is now legislation, and we need to really be, the more information you have, the better. You sit in a better seat
yeah,
without information. And so we're moving forward. I mean, that's extreme, but I did hear a lady from Australia indicate she had heard and read and heard about the San Francisco thing. She
yeah.
goes, if that happens, she goes, we are going to have to here in Australia, we need to get the ball rolling in order to provide reparations for our indigenous indigenous the Aborigines that are in Australia. So this could start now. If it starts happening out and around the United States, so now think about this, Gilbert. Jamaica, and I was talking to my girlfriend Daisy, who's from Jamaica, and her family were in Barbados. So
Yeah,
everywhere your ancestors were in the Caribbean island,
yeah,
there's different entities that were part of the slave trade, right? You have your Portuguese, you have your Spanish, your
yeah.
Spaniards, the Brits, and Belgium. So each one of those could also, I mean, they're all on tap for reparations because they're the ones that benefited from it. So anybody that benefited on the backs of Africans that were brought here as enslaved people,
Right.
so this could be a whole world thing.
Oh, that would be great, man. That would be great. That
Yeah,
would be great.
that will be great. So, hey, Marianne, welcome, welcome. So that was some news this week that I thought was pretty interesting that we should
Well, we
bring up.
just got to stay on top of them, and perhaps co-host, you can invite them onto your, whoever the coordinators are of this, onto your community briefing, and
Yeah.
so we can gather some more information. Plus, it will be closer to home.
Exactly. So we could get to hear about it. And speaking of, great segue of the community briefing. Yesterday on the community briefing, we had, and I will put the links in for everyone that wants to participate in the community briefing. So as we bring some amazing people to talk about real deal stuff happening in our cities, in our county, in our state. So yesterday we had the executive director for iBank, which is it's a banking they're not a bank like you walk in and make
It's
your
like an
deposit.
online bank.
It's an online bank, but they do mostly investments in big,
Yeah.
venture capital and things like that. And it's infrastructural. It's actually a federal a government entity. So Scott Wu, who is the director, was asked by Governor Newsom to head that up. So we had a conversation about the slow week we had in banking this week, and that was, we talked about the SVB, the Silicon Valley bank that crashed, collapsed, went destructo this week.
You remember we talked about this in the last show, on the previous shows, that everything that goes on right now in our economy is cyclical. Whatever is happening now, it happened before, probably 20 or 40 years ago, but or even a century ago, but it happened because this situation with this bank, is it SVB Bank?
Silicon
In
Valley.
Silicon Valley, and then you got the other one you talked about.
Signature Bank.
Yeah,
You have First
and
Republic.
iBank.
iBank is cool, but the ones that are in trouble right now because of the fact that they reduced regulations is for, and Credit Suisse is also part of that platform. So but
all of this started, remember, they started back in 2007, 2008. That's why we had that crisis, right? Then Obama came in and did his thing, and he put those restrictions in place that they can't play that game anymore, and forced the government to bail them out. And the president after him came in and removed those restrictions, so he and his friends can benefit. And see, It's happening again.
And you see it. So basically, they cited inadequate liquidity and insolvency. But what happened was they had been invested. What they did was they went short on loans to pay the loans back in a certain time frame, but they went long investments on treasury bonds. With the rising interest rates rising as they have been, it created a problem. So when the average depositor, the small business owners that were housing their money at that bank, and it was their operating expense money, their payroll money, things like that to run their business, when they start spending the money, now it created a deficit, and they had, I believe, a $1.8 billion loss. And so they started to sell the treasury bonds in order to cover the losses, but the treasury bonds are not valued as they were during the pandemic, because see, all these banks made lots and lots of money during the pandemic.
Yeah. So I have a question I want to ask, co-host, and this question is for you and also our viewers and listeners on the line right now checking out the show. And I want to ask this before we bring on our next guest. So my question is, what is the advantage of us small businesses putting our money in a bank? What's the advantage? Give me two advantages.
One of the advantages is that if you ever need money, now we're talking, if you're talking minorities, this may not apply to them, but if you need funds, capital for your business, if your money is in a bank, that gives you, it makes you bankable, right? So that you can actually qualify for a line of credit or a actual business capital loan. So that's one of the advantages.
First one. What's the second one?
And secondly, where else you gonna put your money? Under the mattress?
I have a safe. I put it in my safe because here's the deal. We put our money in their banks, right? And they encourage all of us small businesses. Oh, you got to put your money in here or we give you minus 5% interest rate, right? So they claim they're going to give us interest rate on our money. Then we go to get a line of credit. Then we try to get a business loan. We don't get it. We get turned down. They keep stepping on our throat. Okay. So what's the purpose? What's the purpose? You do a transaction, you get a check from a client, you deposit it, they're telling you, oh, we got to put a 7-day hold on this check. What the heck? Why do we need all of that? So for me, I don't see the advantage. So right now, all of my money, I take that out and I put it in my safe until I can find certain other types of investment that turns over quickly.
Right, but you still have to have some portal so that you can make exchanges for whatever purchases of, especially your bills. You're not gonna go to all your vendors.
For the business, what you want to do is and just like I tell folks in Small Biz Pro, you want to have at least 3 bank accounts in Small Biz Pro. Okay, you want to have an income account. So when your money comes in from your client, it goes into your income account. Then you have an operating account, which you use to pay your bills. So if all your bills for the month is, say, $10,000, then you want to keep about $12,000 in that account. That means 10 will cover your overhead expenses, and you have like a little $2,000 buffer just in case, right? To keep that account afloat. And then the third account is going to be an investment account. Now, that investment account doesn't have to be with a bank. It can be somewhere else. And that's what I'm recommending. You see what I'm saying? So that's how I'm running my business. And this is how I'm telling my clients to do their thing. Now, I mean, I know you do bookkeeping. So, you've got the QuickBooks account needs to be tied into certain account, checking account. So that's good. You have X amount in there for the QuickBooks stuff.
Right. And that's not a bad a strategy, is to, because here's the other thing for the SBV banks and all those other banks. A lot of these people had over the guaranteed protection
amount, which is 250,000.
Right. So
Right.
the FDIC, which is the Federal Depository of what is it?
I think it's called Federal Insurance Depository,
right.
Something.
Yeah, right. So that's there. But they're only going to guarantee $250,000.
Exactly.
So you should never have more than $250,000. I mean, in
No.
your case, you're saying less than that, but you should never have more than $250,000 in any one bank, because the FDIC is only going to protect that. Many of these people had billions and millions of dollars in one bank.
Yeah.
And so one, I don't even get it, because they're not getting any benefit from it.
Right.
But there's no interest or anything, but it was also not protected. So I think that's not a bad idea. And I think basically money should be in CDs and things like that, so that it's earning a higher rate of return. You shouldn't just have millions and millions of dollars sitting in a commercial, in a bank account. That's not even a savings account. You're going to get less than 1%, 2% at best in your savings account. So it should be in an investment account, but all of it shouldn't be in one place anyway, because it's not protected.
And here's another little craziness, and I know we got to get our guest on, but man, I'm hyped up right now. Okay. Hey, LaRon Pierce, I want to thank you for tuning in, LaRon. Nice to have you on the call. So here's another thing I want to say, right? So when you have your money in the bank, let's say you have 150 grand in the bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
Under the $250,000 limit.
Right.
If you go to take out some of that money, let's say you want to take 10 grand out of there. You can't. Well, you can, but they reported to the IRS that you're taking 10 grand.
Anything over 10 grand is going to be
anything over $9,999. Right. They report to the IRS. So what the heck? You got your own money.
And here's the thing, Gilbert. Remember, the bank is in business. The way it makes money is from loans, interest payments on the loans, right?
Exactly.
So if you come pull your $250,000 out, 10 of us come pull our $250,000 out. Now we got to run on the bank. That's what happened.
That's what I'm talking about. So, and that's what we had in Pasadena in 2008. Because when that little criminal there, what's his name? the one that was in the Trump administration. What's his name?
Right. Mahoney, wasn't it?
Mahoney or something like that, right?
Yeah.
He was running that One West Bank in Pasadena. So when they ripped off the little old people of their money, and people started running to the bank to withdraw their money, they couldn't get it. So that's what we're saying. So we don't want to.
It was Mnuchin, not Mahoney. It's Mnuchin. Steve Mnuchin is the guy that was running One West Bank. Yeah,
that one. Mm-hmm. So that is why we got to learn from our experiences and not put too much money in the bank. I got my money in my safe right now. Okay, I don't need, because even if you put your money in the bank, how much interest you're getting on that? It's negligible.
Right.
So why not?
Yeah, you got to find a good investment, because even in your safe, you have some in there, but you got to have some that's generating and making other money for you.
Well, I keep it in my safe, and then when I find certain investments, and I'm looking at short-term investment, I'm not looking at long-term right now. Okay. Short-term investment that I can put some money in and I can get some good rate of return on it. That's what I do. But let's talk to our guest.
Yeah, but what she has to say. But at the same time, we close out on this topic. And I also read this week that a small business owner was ripped off of all of his money. He had he didn't have $250,000, but he had somewhere about $100,000 in his bank account, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know what happens is we do everything remotely now, right? And some of us trust people calling us out the clear blue sky saying we're X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
There seems to be a problem with your bank account. We need to have you verify it. So I read this morning. This gentleman who had a hauling company, he got a call. And the caller said, we're calling from your bank. There's a $42,000 wire coming in, and we need to
verify your account number.
He said, no, I didn't do a wire transfer. that's not me. I've never even done a wire transfer because he's kind of a small time kind of guy. He goes, I don't even know how you go about doing that. He says, that's not me. So then of course, they regurgitated his information to him.
Yeah.
And so, of course, he's acknowledging. So I'm going
to say he thinks because they're confirming his information, then they're legit, right?
Right. So of course, the feedback was, man, you should have hung up, called the number on your bank statement if you haven't been calling your bank, but if you should have a relationship with your bank, so you should be able to have a branch manager. If I got over if I got over $10 in the bank account, I still need to know who the branch manager is.
Yeah.
I need to have their phone number, and I need to be able to get to them directly.
Yeah.
And that's usually what I do. When someone calls you on the phone inquiring about things about your bank or any of your bills, you say to them, I'm hang up, and then call your bank to say, did you just call me in regards to a wire transfer? And then if that's not the case, then I think someone's trying to scam or something's going on. Put a tag on a watch on my account and make sure I have not authorized any kind of wire transfer or any kind of deduction of any amount of money. And please, so this man literally lost all the money that was in his bank account within seconds after he went and acknowledged that, yes, this is my stuff. They had already moved out his money.
Yeah, see, that's why I say to small businesses, right? Anyone who calls you on the phone, it could be anyone. So do not trust anyone who calls you. Even if the voice sounds familiar, do not trust anyone who calls you on the phone.
The IRS is not going to call you on the
phone. The IRS is not going to call you.
And your utility companies are not going to call you on the
phone. The Social Security Administration is not going to call
you on the phone. So just know that. So that's just a wise. I mean, I guess it happens. Everybody's working in their business and not on their business, and they get caught up in all of that. And they think so. Just something that I read this morning and felt that we needed to acknowledge. And
this
I know
anti-scamming 101.
Right, exactly. People are busy right now. They have created a new business model. It's called Scam You.
Scamu.com.
Scamu.com. So just to know that. Okay, so now we're ready for our guest, but before we bring her on, we're going to do a quick little commercial on a product that is near and dear to my co-host's heart. And and then after that, we're going to bring our guest on. We are in for a real treat, everyone. And so stay tuned. So let me get this all queued up, ready to go before I'm all ready. What happened here? Oops, what? Stop. Okay. There we go. I'm trying to get it all queued up so it's past the commercial. So, all righty. Are we good? Let's see. Past the staple commercial. And
shout out to Marian Lopez. Shout out to Fernando Young. Shout out to LaRon Pierce. Shout out to everyone who is watching this show today. This is the Business Zone with Coach Crystal and Coach Gilbert Buchanan. We're the #1 small business podcast in town, in Southern California, and in the U.S. I don't see anyone else out there doing what we're doing for small business guys. And I've gone over the whole country, traveled all over the whole place. I haven't seen it. So just want to let you guys know we are the ish.
All righty. All right. So let's hit our commercial and then we're going to our great guest today. Here we go. Oh, and here we go.
He's paperwork and takes care of all your record keeping. Does your current record-keeping system send you 90-day alerts to remind you that your key documents are about to expire and need to be renewed? Can you find contracts and procurement opportunities in seconds from any of the 50 United States so you can grow your business? Is your business organized so that you can tell which key documents are needed to efficiently run the business? How about woman-owned, small business, or disadvantaged business enterprise certifications? Do you have a checklist of all the key documents you need to become certified? Does your current system allow you to conduct market research from multiple sources and provide you industry and market data in seconds? Well, Small Biz Pro does all of that and more. Small Biz Pro is the #1 business management, compliance, procurement assistance, and market research assistance tool on the market today. Download the app now and you will be amazed. It's like having 3 additional employees working for you, but you don't have to pay them. What are you waiting for?
Go get your 3 employees, people.
That's
Gilbert.
right.
So this product is Gilbert's. He's the founder and the creator of this product. So Gilbert, you want to give him a little bit more info, and then I will bring in our guest while you're doing that.
Yes, guys, if you want to make sure your back office is in order, you got all your paperwork in one place, you can access your paperwork in seconds from anywhere in the world using your smartphone, using your laptop, using a desktop. Then that's what this platform does for you. Not only does this platform make you business ready, contract ready, bank loan ready, and certification ready or nonprofit ready, but it also has grants and a lot of contract opportunities in this platform, guys. So this is like a wealth of resource for your small business. So check it out, smallbizpro.net. Now, I put the link in the chat. So if you want to try out the platform for quick 10 days, then hit that link. And then if you like it, reach out to me. I'll give you a discount on this.
All righty. So the link is in the chat, guys. So check that out. Get your 3 employees for a very nominal fee every month. So our guest, guys, is Ms. Deshawn A. Booker, also known as the Maximizing Coach. She's the CEO and founder of Maximizing Your Magnificence. She helps people get intentional with and live with integrity and manifest increase. She is an agent. She calls herself the agent of transformational change. She deliberately, with absolute enthusiasm, works to transform the lives of others through her learning by becoming result-oriented process, which is empowering and life-changing. And as a young girl, she absolutely loved playing make-believe, and she would always gather all her friends and cousins to join her as they played school. And of course, that is what she is today, a teacher. So she was manifesting her destiny at that point in time as a child. So she said she was a type A personality child. She was bright, creative, goal-oriented, self-motivated, and a high achiever. So with that, we are going to bring on Ms. Deshawn, and she can carry on telling you how brilliant she is.
Oh, my goodness.
Welcome to the Business Zone, Ms. Deshawn Booker, and consider it manifested.
That's right. Thank you all for having me. Hello, Crystal and Gilbert. Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here. I love listening to you all talk about what's happening in this world, right? All of the hot topics and things that we need to just, be careful of. So thank you so much for that beautiful conversation that we were able to get a little, listen in on. And thank you for having me today. And of course, it is Women's Herstory or History Month. And so I'm so excited to be here to just share, what my journey is looking like. We don't always know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. And as Crystal just said, listen, I'm that A-type, right? I got an A-type personality. So I don't like when things are going to, sneak up on me by surprise. I like to plan everything out, right, Crystal? And, make sure my T's are crossed and my I's are dotted. But then when God says, no, this is happening now, you go, oh, okay. So that's what this conversation is going to really look like as I talk about, what's happening with me today. So yeah, I've been working with women for over 20 years and doing empowerment workshops and facilitating coaching programs for them. My goal has always been for people, even our young people. I've done works with youth, with our young teenagers, both men and women. I work with at-risk students and children within the communities. I've done things for the mayor's office over the past years. And my goal is really to allow people to reach their highest potential. Even as a young girl, yes, I would gather my friends and my cousins into the garage and like make them play school, like, and they sat there and played, and I was just that person that wanted to see them shine, see them get some information, and then run with that information and become their best self. So yes, I've manifested some of that, and that's great. And I also am a college professor and a writer, director, producer. And I wasn't always shining that light in the area of my artistry. I was, and then I wasn't. So that's why I'm here today to talk about my love letter. My love letter, which is my one woman show. And I'm talking about that in terms of why am I even doing it? I didn't know I was going to do it now. I honestly did not. I had years ago, I knew that I was going to write, direct, produce my own one woman show, like in the 90s. And I had the title for it. And, I said, okay, I'll get to that. Right. My background also, I have a theater degree. I'm a director, writer, producer. As I said, I went to Howard University's, the College of Fine Arts. So I've directed and written and acted and all those things that I've done as a young girl. I went to, Lee Strasberg, Institute, which is an acting school here in New York and in Los Angeles. I went to Inner City Cultural Center here in LA. I went to Sheila Manning's commercial school. I went to, Miss Blackwell Dance Academy. So I really was that woman that was about the arts. And
Deshaun, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but our field correspondent Greg Sneed, he put in the chat that you must be Jamaican because you got 10 job, man.
And I used to get that a lot, right? Because that's one of the things I'm gonna talk about, Gilbert, is why I wrote this show. Because why do we have to do one thing? You know what I'm saying? That's exactly why I'm reigniting my fire. That's exactly why. Because, as a young girl, and my parents were teachers, right? And may my mom rest in peace. We lost her in 2015, but she was a teacher for over 35 years with Inglewood School District. My dad with Long Beach, and growing up in that, in that home, education was first, right? And what type of job are you going to get? That's logical. And so I had to really battle with myself, with my arts, right? The artist in me, and then finding that, well, what's the logic career you're going to do? So all of what I am doing is really who I am, and I got tired of fighting. Like, I can't fight this any longer. So, all those years I would suppress one and, okay, I'll do this. I'll suppress the others, and I'll just do this because this one makes sense. Or I was becoming the better version of myself, but really I was becoming the version of others. And so, all of my hands are in these things, but they're all the same thing. I am a creative being. And I want to just go back a minute and talk about the show, because I didn't know it was going to happen now. Years ago, I knew I was going to have this show and it was going to talk about all the great things I overcame. But honey, I didn't know it was going to really be something I had to go through. Okay. So I was just going to talk about it from this place of theory, I guess. That's more easy, right, Crystal, and fun. But God said, no, I got some other things in store for you. And so my whole life, I've gone through some downs. I've had some losses. I've had some moments where life broke my heart. And that's the journey of Reignite Your Fire, a Black girl's spiritual journey to rebirth. And I have to say this to you in this moment. I did not know I was going to do the show this year, in this moment, in this month. I did not know that. I was working on something else. I am a coach. I coach women. And I was working on what I thought was a coaching program. What was it called? Reignite Your Fire. And God said, no, that's not the coaching program. It's something bigger. 2 days. I went back and forth with God 2 days, like I was going to win, right? 2 days. And he said, this is bigger than a coaching program. This is your one woman show that you've been running from, that you've been hiding. You've been making yourself small. I've been playing in my artistry at about 70%. But I know how to make it look like 100% because women know how to do that, okay? We know how to make it look good. We can stretch it out. We can make it look real good, right, Crystal?
Yep.
We can play Gilbert at 20%, and you all think we playing at 80%.
I hear that.
We'll put the bells and the whistles on. So I did that for the, most of my adult life. And God said, now it's time for you to really show up and talk about this journey. And this was in the end of February, okay? And he said, you're going to write this script now and produce it, direct it for Women's Month. I said, well, yeah, okay. I think that's great, but I'm not ready. Well, I didn't win that. Let's just say that, right? I didn't win that argument because I'm here today talking about it. And God told me where I was going to direct it, with theater, which I've directed at this particular theater before. And I said, okay. And so I began to really meditate because it's about being authentic. It's about the true journey. And when you do a one woman show, a one person show, you're talking about yourself. Now you're talking about being vulnerable, being transparent. You're talking about telling and living the truth out loud. None of us want to do that because then we have given ourselves a stage where you can judge us, where you can say, I didn't know that about her. You mean all this time she'd been faking the funk? You mean all this time she wasn't telling the truth? Not so much, right? So this journey is really where I take us through the little girl in me. And I'm going back to rescue her. Her, the little Dee Dee, the little shiny girl who I left a long time ago because I didn't quite think people would accept her because she was loud. She's bodacious. She has a lot of energy. Y'all saying, Crystal saying, well, that's you today. Yeah, it is. But I literally would press her down, suppress her, right? All these years, I remember the moment that really broke my heart was when my kindergarten teacher, let me take you back, Mrs. Gardner, she wanted to hold me back in kindergarten. She told my mom I couldn't do it. I didn't know the work. She could not even see me move into the first grade. My mom had this sit down meeting with her. I was there. Miss Gardner was, trying to get me to do some type of, assignment in front of my mom. And she was yelling at me. And my mom stood and said, my daughter knows the work. Why are you yelling at her? You're intimidating my child. And my mom had me when she was 16 years old. Okay. So at this time, my mind wasn't much older, right? But she told this woman, you're not going to keep my daughter behind because she knows the work. But that was a seed, if I may say so, and be really transparent in this moment. That was the seed that broke my heart. I didn't know that until I became an adult and I began to see things really play out in my life. I did not see myself as someone who was worthy. I just wasn't worthy. She planted that seed in me that I wasn't enough. And it began to ooze out in every aspect of my adult life, even before my adult life. I went through elementary school, middle school, and high school where I was bullied. I was bullied all the way into my first year in college. Ooh. And I was bullied because who knows, right? And the girls would bully me, and my hair was long, or I was a certain complexion, or I was too funny, or why do you think you are all of that? Like, I didn't know what that meant, right? And so I was literally bullied all of those years. Again, the story, you're not good enough, Deshaun. There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong because why don't they like you? Why don't they accept you? The girls, the friends, why are they wanting to not be your friend? And so I began to see myself as smaller than I really was. That little girl that had that fire in the beginning, where my parents would say, you're so dramatic, calm down, you're always talking. Well, what's wrong with talking? So see, all of those things weren't channeled so that I can live in my best version of myself. And I began to find a way to mask who I really was. Even into my adult life, I became a people pleaser. And so in my friendships and relationships and even in my workplaces, I would be just enough so that no one would say, who does she think she is? Why is she so confident? Why is she so bold? So I would do just enough to keep people feeling safe around me, where I was hurting on the inside. I was hurting. So I would write some plays and direct some plays and, but I wouldn't do enough. That's enough to shine. So I began to hide behind the work in becoming a teacher. I began to hide behind something that kept me safe, that kept other people saying, she's cool, she's okay, and she's certainly not intimidating. But they knew, some of them knew, Deshaun, you're creative. And I said, yes. They said, why aren't you doing more with your creativity? Why aren't you doing more with your artistry? And then I began to take some more steps and do that. Well, when things don't happen the way you want, I produced and directed plays and they were great, but they didn't get me to where I wanted to go. I dropped it. Forget it. Maybe that's not what I'm supposed to do. And I was praying and had my affirmations and God, have you forsaken me? Where are you? You've given me these desires in my heart. I had a talk show for teenagers, the teen scene. I did that on cable years ago. I did it on the radio. And so I was finding that I was doing just a little bit of my artistry, of my creativity, but I was doing it behind the scenes because I didn't want someone or people to say, who does she think she is? Then I had my parents. Listen, this art stuff is great, child, but what you gonna do to make a living? Okay, listen, we know you are, dramatic and you like to be expressive and we get that hobby. But Deshaun, what's your job? Now you're gonna do it. You're gonna keep this teaching going, right? So I had that also that I had to prove myself to my parents. Like, yeah, okay, I'm logical, I'm sensible. Yes, I'm going to do the responsible thing. But I wasn't doing the thing that I was passionate about. Love teaching, but I found that I was doing it to people please. I was doing it so that I'd be accepted within the realm of responsibility. And
It's
then when
good.
I lost my mother in 2015, and we lost our mom in 2015, I had to take a step back, Gilbert, and say, now, what is it that I truly, truly am passionate about? Because see, here's the deal. We are gifted, we are talented, we have skill set, and we are good about a lot of things. But what is my passion? What is my purpose? And my purpose truly is using my gift as an artist to help shed the light on others and their vision. I'm a visionary. I am a visionary storyteller. I love to tell stories on the stage, on the television and film. I love to write. I love to bring that to life. It doesn't mean I'm the person always acting, but it means that I'm now co-creating in my artistry. And so when my mom passed, I had some years where I sat back and I was depressed. I was depressed for years, even the following year, the next year, and I was trying to keep up the appearances. I wanted people to see that I could do what I was teaching other women, that I could bounce back. I wanted people to believe that I had it all together because I was teaching that. I wanted people to see that I had my spirituality on lockdown, honey, because I was teaching that, right? But I wasn't. I was drowning. I was drowning because I didn't give myself enough time to mourn my mother. I didn't give myself enough time to just sit with me. And once I began to identify what all that looked like, I lost my bonus mom in 2020. I lost my grandmother. I lost several aunts. One of my aunts was murdered. I lost other aunts. I lost them to life-threatening illnesses. I lost my sister in 1993 to lupus. I wrote a musical about it. I wrote a musical about my sisters, moving through that whole life-threatening situation. And I did the musical. It was great, but I didn't see the expectations that I wanted. So I shelved it. So now God is saying, so is that what we're doing? We're just shelving things. Is that what we're doing? Are we playing ourselves small? So when I thought I was creating Reignite Your Fiyah, a master class, right? On Zoom. God said, no. This is the show. This is the journey where you're showing who you are, what you went through, not because it's your time to shine, but because it's your time to be transparent and to turn the test into the testimony. It's time to shine, to turn the mess into your message. It's time for you to rescue that little girl that you left behind that is saying, I got us. Come get me. We are okay. And so I'm excited to celebrate Women's Herstory Month with the premiere of my stage reading. It is a stage reading, which means I'm going to be reading from, well, I don't read anything, honey. I'm going to be generating from my script. And I'm also going to reenact. I do that as well. And so I'm excited about this script because it really allows me the platform to show up big for myself, to love on myself, and to show the women, hey, we are more than what we believe we are. It's my love letter to all of the women who have chosen resiliency over defeat, because it's all about a choice. And so a lot of what I'm doing comes from my programs. I teach a whole series. One of my signature coaching programs is how do you have the willingness to bounce back? So I'm showing that in this piece. All of my clients that I've coached in how to get these women back into, the ring of life, how to show up for themselves. I've been teaching myself all this time. And so I'm using those tools as well. So I really am bridging together, Gilbert, the coaching, the teaching, facilitating with the live performance. And then there's workshops and programs that go right in line with that. So the Reignite Your Fire is a series. It's a series of the life of the performance. It's the coaching. It's also going to be a book and devotional book. Did I know that? Not, no. But now that God said, this is it. So, okay. So it's not many hats. It's really me standing in my truth. So I'm excited. I'm excited to share that. I'm nervous. I'm shaking in my boots. I am, but why not? I've helped other clients of mine write their one-woman shows. I've done this. And so now I am going to breathe out and welcome everyone to the platform so that we can really reignite our fires together. And that's what we're doing.
Awesome.
You know what's amazing about what's happening right now? On this show, you will have a copy of this show. So all the things you just said right now leading up to this point, you can encapsulate this into a video and put it back out there, because you just told an amazing story. You see what I'm saying? And the passion that you're putting in this, I can tell that it's coming from the heart. And most of the times when we put passion into telling a story, we can't tell that same story the same way the next time. So that's why I'm telling you, I want you to encapsulate this, put it in a video, and put it out, because this is amazing. Good job.
Thank you.
And Latanza says, love the name and the passion behind the call to action. And I want to say a couple of points, Deshawn, when you were saying how many Black children, both male and female, have been told by an elementary school teacher that they were not going to amount to anything. Yes. And so at that point, they start stifling your greatness, right?
Yes.
And so you learn as that keeps going on year after year after year after year. Maybe I'm, like you just said, maybe I am not all that I think I am. There's no one saying that I am. And we look to our teachers as someone that's nurturing us to our greatness, right? So maybe I don't have greatness in it. So, and the second point is that you showed how just that one moment in your childhood really shaped your adulthood, right? Where you felt less than you in order to reach you. There's an author, Dr. Joy DeGruel, and she talks about us as Black people, that we are all we are going through what she calls the post-traumatic slave syndrome. And that post-traumatic slave syndrome is that no one healed the pain, right?
Yes.
Our pain hasn't been healed. So you had the pain at your age, but then your mother had pain at her, and her grandmother, your grandmother, and your aunt. And that just passes on through generation after generation. And so life coaches like yourself is needed, because we got to be able to tap into the pain to heal that child, so then we can reach our greatness.
Oh, yes, Crystal, you have not said it less than the truth. It is so absolutely, empowering what you're saying in this moment, because I had no idea, right? But I knew how she made me feel in class. I would use the restroom on myself, right? She would yell at me. And why was I the person that she picked out? I don't know that. And do you all know? I don't want to be remiss in saying this. Years later, I was in high school, and I was working for a young lady at a preschool. And she sent me to the post office, my boss. And I go into the post office, and I'm like shaking right now. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And I walk into the post office, and it's Mrs. Gardner.
Oh.
I was in 10th grade, and I knew it was her. Still, she looked the same. And I said to her, "Excuse me, are you Miss Gardner? Did you teach at Manchester Elementary School?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "I am," and I thought in that moment I was gonna do the big girl thing, right? And get back my power. And I said, "Well, I'm Deshaun Booker. You taught me a long time ago, and you wanted to keep me behind in kindergarten, and you were intimidated to me, and you didn't like me, and you scared me." And she looked at me, and I said, all I could say was, "And I'm in high school now, and I'm doing great." And I ran out of the post office. I didn't even complete the work I was there to do for my boss. I was still afraid of her. Although I spoke, I was still afraid. And when I went back to the preschool, my boss said, "Deshaun, you didn't get the whatever I was getting. I was mailing something off." And I said, I know. I ran into someone, and I couldn't do it. I'll go back later." And she asked, "Who did you run into?" And I said, "If she was my kindergarten teacher, and she was very mean to me, long time ago. And she just still, frightens me." And I had a boss that in that moment, she said, "I get it. I understand. Right. But you can't let that be your future." Well, I didn't know what to do with that either, because it still continued to be my future. And it wasn't until years later that I sat down with a coach who walked me through the moment that life broke my heart, which was that moment. And so it wasn't until I sat down with my own coach who said, "Let me hear what you're talking about. Where's this pain coming from?" And so we began to go back and dig up those roots. All the roots, the bullying, the losing loved ones, all those moments in my life where I felt like I wasn't enough, the friends that have come and gone, right? And so she had to bring all of that up so that we can start on what? Fertile soil. And so again, I'm still moving through that process. And so in reigniting your fire, my spiritual journey is to my rebirth. And again, how do we get there? We get there by first saying yes to our own healing, by first recognizing that there's some stuff there that we need to recognize and pull up. So I had to be courageous. So I'm grateful to even speak about it here on the platform, and the goal is truly to allow others, men and women, to see who they are, even when they're feeling defeated, and to go back and to rescue their younger selves. That's the goal. That's the goal.
It's amazing how a teacher, a coach, or a leader can impact the life of a child, and they don't really understand, because this was done many years ago, and you see how that action shaped you today. And even as you speak about it right now, you're still shaking because it takes you back to that spot. I remember when I was growing up, right? And I was in high school. My English teacher, she said something to me, and I never forget it. She asked me to write a sentence. And I wrote the sentence and it didn't make sense. You know, those run-on sentences. I did one of those. And she said, "What are you doing? No one understands this. When you tell a story, you need to tell a story so that your listener can understand it and that they won't ask you any question about it because the way you wrote it was so clear." And every day I keep that in the back of my head. When I write, I keep that in the back of my head. So I can identify with what you're saying, man. And it's so amazing. And that's why I'm saying to you that this video today that we're doing live on the Business Zone, when it's because this is live on YouTube as well. So when the show is over and you get that link, I want you to take that link, edit it, and all the things you're saying, put it in, because this is going to change the life of some other young girl or some young boy out there when they hear it.
That's right. That's right.
Exactly.
I will. Oh, yeah.
Because it is when we think of us as Black people, look how many discouraging comments have been made to us in some capacity in every walk of our lives that we're not good enough, right? We hear that comment, you'll never amount to anything, or right, or you're too brown, or you're too light, you're too this, you're too that,
and not for you.
Right, and this is not for you, or you know, we don't like you. We don't want you to know too much. We want you. So these things just keep piling on up. And when we look around our community we even ask, why are we not moving? Why are we so apathetic? Well, I guess because we've been weighed down so much with those comments that it feels like it's insurmountable for us to push it up out the way. And that's basically what you're doing, right? Pushing all of that stuff away and realizing you can be all of these things. I can be everything that I want to be, and there is no limit to who I am. And I think that's the difference. I know that's the difference between how we're raised and how children from white families or Jewish families are raised, because they're raised to be told that there is no limit to their desires and dreams.
That's right.
But ours is, no, there's a ceiling to your desires, what you want. You're not, Black people don't do that. Right? No. Society won't let you do that. Right. You got to be this little person in this little box because you can't go no more than that. That's it. That's all you get to do is be this little bitty person. Right.
Right. And one of the things that I say when I'm coaching women and myself included is I say it's not even about crushing the box, right? Or thinking outside the box. For me, it's crushing it. And we do keep ourselves confined, right? I call it outrageous openness. What can we believe beyond what we're even believing is outrageous. And so even in this journey for me, there are, what I call the willingness to bounce back. A lot of times we ask ourselves, how are we resilient, after being told you're not good enough or you can't do it? How do you bounce back after your losses, or broken marriage, or broken friendship, relationships, losing your job, right? Not having the right amount of, savings, or money's not coming into you, all those things that people have done, we've lost. How do we bounce back? And so I literally teach this in my coaching program, the willingness to bounce back. And it's a 6-part, to this teaching. And the first thing is we have to first and foremost just say, okay, what am I choosing to fight for? And so I had to ask myself, what are you fighting for, Deshawn? And I'm truly fighting for who I've always been, not who I am today, who those see me as, but who was I before going to college? Who was I before I met different friends and affiliations and associations? Who was I before all of that? All of us, right? We were bright-eyed and, we had an open, naive heart. We were ready to explore and conquer the world. We didn't have any limitations. We were like, yes, this is who I am. So I had to ask myself, as I'm choosing now to be what? Resilient. What am I choosing to fight for? I'm fighting for my purpose. I'm fighting for my laughter. I'm fighting for my fulfillment. I'm fighting for my joy. And then I had to, the next step in your willingness to bounce back is you have to choose forgiveness. So I had to choose all of that stuff that I've gone through to forgive that teacher. Another teacher one time, I was just in an 8th grade class being an 8th grader. And she said to me, "You think you are a prima donna?" I didn't even know what that word meant. I didn't. And I said, "Why is she saying Mrs. Malowski?" And she said, "See, I've been traumatized. I know their names, honey."
Let's put her out there on blast.
Right. She's Mrs. Malowski. She said,
"How dare you?"
I said, "I don't even know what a prima donna." I went home, I looked it up. I said, "I'm not in an opera. I don't even sing. I'm not a singer in an opera. That's some kind of principle, But we've used that word to tell a person, who do you think you are? Again, my light was just being crushed. And all I was doing was talking, speaking, being me in the class. But I had to forgive. I had to choose to forgive all of those, even family members and friends who would say to me, even in my present life right now, "Oh, you're so dramatic." That has such a negative connotation to it. When I'm talking to other actors, we all feel the same way about that. I've asked my students, who are actors and performers, have people said that to you? They say, "Yeah, why do they say that to us? What's wrong with being, dramatic? It's not a fake thing. I'm being expressive. It's who I am." And so all of those negative connotations, I had to choose forgiveness.
Right.
I had to choose that that's not my truth, in these steps of the willingness to bounce back. I had to choose openness. I had to choose outrageous openness. God, bring me all of it, honey. God, I want waves and waves of blessings. I don't want to be put in a box. I want the outrageous openness if I'm going to bounce back, right? And then, we want to lean into God's presence. How do we do that? Just get quiet. Meditation, pray, stop talking so much, right? Whomever your higher, being is, get in alignment with that. And then the last thing that I teach my women, that I was also teaching myself, if we're going to bounce back, is reigniting your vision. And so I had to choose to reignite my vision. And I'm excited about that. And I am loving myself for doing so. And I'm going all the way, y'all. And I'm taking everybody with me. Crystal, Gilbert, get on board. Let's go and reignite these visions and do what we're supposed to do in the world.
Well, I have a recommendation for you and Crystal. Now, but before I do that, our field correspondent Greg Sneed said we have to use those words as motivation, and that is true. Marian Lopez said, "Hey, sing it loud and clear." Same thing is happening in the Latino community. So, and I'm sure everyone can identify with what you're saying, because I can identify with it. A lot of my successes today is a result of that teacher that I talked to you about and my dad. My dad said some horrible things to me when I was growing up, and that was my motivation, because I wanted to prove him wrong. Okay. So I want to share this with you and Crystal. Now, Crystal, she works with the kids. She does the Biz Camp program and the Biz Institute program. I can see you speaking to those kids, sharing a similar story like this, because you know what? At the age that they're at right now, that's the age that's really where they're receptive to any negativity that they can take to the next level of their life that can destroy them. So you teaming up with Crystal and showing up and telling your story that, hey, this is what I heard when I was a little girl, but I didn't listen to that. Look at me now, and then your mantra on the wall said, think like a boss. Okay. Being a boss. I love it.
That's right. I will. I love that idea, of course. And Crystal knows I am there to serve and support. I love that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's interesting you said that, Gilbert, because one of my struggles with the kids is when they come in, I'm a big picture thinker, and I'm a Jamaican too. I got multiple jobs.
Yep, she
Multiple
15 job
I
man.
got 15 jobs, man. How many you got, right?
That's
So,
right.
but it's because, but they all tie into each other, right? But
Yeah.
one of the things, but I think big, right? And I think my vision is to help, a mass amount of people become and live in their greatness and launch this amazing business. But then I have both children and adults that come to me and they go, my business idea is this, and it's about this small. And I was like, okay, but how we gonna get it successful with this little tiny business that we talking about? We need to be successful, to make lots of money. We gotta have a big idea, right? It's gotta be disruptive. It's gotta be able to generate massive amounts of money. It ain't gonna happen with this little t-shirt business, right?
That's right. That's right.
that you're producing t-shirts that somebody else is making.
And that's right. Come on now. Come on.
Right. And so I'm always trying to get them to get to that bigger type of business idea. But it's like pulling, I'm going to make lip gloss. Okay, that's cute. But what about we manufacture the lip gloss?
Yeah,
we become the Rihanna that creates a whole cosmetic line for a particular group or to the particular target audience. That's a bigger vision. Now, we might have to do it in phases.
Yeah.
Right. We may not be able to jump right out the box. You're kids. I get that. But let's think bigger. And I think that is what So for my kids, both boys and girls, I need them not to think so small. I need all of us as Black people not to think so small.
That's right.
I think we need to be exactly what you're saying. Embrace all of me. All of that stuff that I've suppressed. Embrace all of those people. And let's merge those people into one person, and let's be that huge person. Today I spoke to a women's on a women's summit, and I was talking about how do you stand out in a crowd? Well, you stand out in a crowd by being bold and original, right? And visible. So you're being bold. You're going to stand out in a crowd. So that's really what they were telling you, Deshawn. Don't stand out in the crowd, Deshawn.
Right.
I need you to be smushed down and stand back with the rest of the people, and don't stand out at all. We don't need to see you stand out and being dramatic, because you now taking the whole show away from me.
They don't want you to reignite your fire.
That's right. That's right. And let me tell you what fire means. Fiyah, flowing in your anointing higher.
Wow.
We got to go higher, right?
I love that.
And so, when I was given that, I said, okay, that's a big responsibility, but I'm going to take on that responsibility, and it's true, being bold and standing out, and so often we tell, our children and, others, oh, no, that's enough. That's enough. Why do you have to do that? Why do you, and I subscribed to that for far too long. I subscribed to it.
Right.
And then I found that I was unhappy. And then I was blaming other people for my unhappiness.
So you needed someone like you to come along to say, hey, you don't need to color within the lines. Color outside the lines.
That's right. Exactly. That's right. And the irony, Gilbert and Crystal, is I took on the mantle and I'm coaching women. And I was like, no, you coaching yourself.
Yeah.
And I got some of that, but now it's like, oh, I am my first client.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
And so I am in a space today where I am truly being my authentic self.
Yeah.
We've said that. We say these things. We toss these terms and words out because they're trending, right?
Yeah.
But I truly am being my authentic self. And there's been a reawakening of that. And I'm grateful to that. I'm truly grateful and humbled by that. So it's going to, present itself in such a way that again, I want others to see in me themselves. Let's reflect that. Let's mirror that. Let's not say, oh, that's just her story or his story. We should see ourselves in someone, as well. We talk about our ancestry, right? Well, what about, who we are today, our community? We are community. So we should be uplifting each other through our storytelling, through who we are. We should invite everyone to the table, not just saying it's my table or just my culture or my ethnicity. No, it's unity through diversity.
Right.
And I truly
we gotta
believe
connect. We gotta connect all the cultures, man.
Yes.
Connect all the cultures. Now, are you on Audible?
I am not.
Well, you need to talk to my co-host Crystal. She knows how to make that happen.
Okay.
Well, I think once she gets there, because I'm sure books are going to come out of this. When the very first time I heard Jashawn speak, we were at a Bella Network conference that was put on by Alicia White Madison, and we had spent like 3 days because it was a weekend long event, and we were down in Long Beach, and we really connected really well. And I was listening to her, and she had a pain in her neck, and she was really in a lot of pain throughout that Saturday, and she was speaking on that Sunday. And so we were all staying at the location, and she was in so much pain that morning. And then when she came up to speak, oh my God, because I was in the background, I knew how much pain she had been in. But when she got up and started talking and motivating,
pain went away.
It was like, who is this girl? She came off in pain, but while she was up there in her element, being her whole full Deshaun Booker self, she was mesmerizing.
She was transformed.
She was magnificent.
Thank you.
And so and I always remember that about you the very first time I met you.
Yeah.
And I know now that you done brought in all of your people together, I know that you're going to reach that greatness. And there's so many other creative actors and actresses that are the same, that have been through the same thing. And you see their brilliance through their work, because that you take that passion. When you have a creative type of business, that passion you have, you guys figure out how to get it and make sure that it lives through your craft. And so I am so excited for you.
Thank you.
And I know this is going to be an awesome beginning for you. And I've watched you come. So you guys, I need you all, and I'm going to move your name for a minute so that they can see how to go about getting here.
Yes.
I need you guys all to go get your ticket. It's it's Friday the 31st. It's her one woman show. And you can get her tickets at DS.
Actually, Crystal, they can just go to the website, DeshawnBooker.com.
Okay.
And go to events and get their tickets there. Go to my website, DeshawnBooker.com. Go to the tab for events and get your ticket.
And get your ticket. And bring your children, guys. Bring your girls. Because this is a story about a young girl who is coming into her own now as an adult woman. And so bring your girls. So if an event like that happens for them in elementary school, they don't have to carry it all the way through their lives. They can start to address it today, because we all have had those experiences where someone has told you, usually when you're your most receptive, at your most receptive place is when you're a child. We suck in everything, whether it's good or bad, positive or negative, and it really shapes the core of who we're going to be. So Deshawn, I am so excited for you.
Thank you.
I'm definitely going to get my ticket so I can come, because I think this is awesome. I'm going to get my sisters and my girlfriends. I think
listen, you are going to have an evening of literally just celebration with me. It's raw, but it's the story. And I play different characters. And of course, I'm playing, my younger self. And she is, honey, she wearing me out in my rehearsals, okay? My younger self is wearing me out. Listen, and it's just me, Gilbert, in the rehearsals. Okay, he wearing me out in these rehearsals, and I said, "Ooh, child," but she's in there doing her thing.
That's what they get for trying to put you in the corner. You
That's
know,
what they get.
you're breaking out.
Yes,
They should have let
yes,
you come out a long time ago.
yes, yes. Ooh, I'm going to get little Dee Dee, honey. Little Dee Dee. I'm going to get her.
This is awesome.
This is amazing. This is
And-
amazing, Deshaun. And we,
Thank you.
you know, in celebration of National Business Women Month, man, this is great.
Yes.
We love to feature our female entrepreneurs as well as the male entrepreneurs, but we also, you know, we always want to find little extra ways to point you in a direction, show you the way, guide and coach you, so you can achieve that objective real soon. I really do. Do you have a book deal with anyone right now?
Not yet. I don't. But those are the things that are now on my horizon immediately. Yes.
Okay.
So Gilbert, do you have someone that you would like for me to start that? What are you saying, Gilbert?
I don't yet, but what I'm thinking is with this show, you could take little snippets of this and put it on YouTube, because you know they have a TikTok also. So when you put these videos out there and people start hearing your story, they start seeing your image, and the more they see that, I want to hear more from this person. Now they're interested. You see what I'm saying? And you're building up your network.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is a good way for you to get that started.
So another one of our Bella sisters that was there at that conference, Carol Anderson, another inspiring woman that she's just amazing as well. She's traveled the world. So she recalls that conference and she says, "Yes, you were in so much pain, but you showed out."
Thank you, Carol.
And she said, you are an inspirational woman. So yes, she is, Carol. I am just so I can't wait, and I know this is just the beginning for you, and it's going to be really amazing and awesome in your journey here. And so yes, I saw it back there in Long Beach, whatever that was. I think that was in 2017 or 18, might have been 18. No, it's 17.
I think it was 2016.
Oh, 2016. So it was just the beginning. We have to go through our journeys, right? Sometimes those journeys are hard, man. But when we come on the other side of that journey and we can look back and go, okay, that was the reason for that journey, right? There's a reason I had to do all of that. So at the time you're asking God, like, God, what the heck is happening up in here?
That is true. That is true. That is true.
But I do know he will, if he's taking you through a journey, he is not going to drop you off in the middle of that journey. He's going to carry you on through, and on the other side, if you accept him and allow him to take you through and don't give up, he is going to let you reach your greatness. And it doesn't matter what age, because it's all destined anyway, right? It's all in the initial plan when you were first born. And so we just have to understand what's happening, because everyone in this world has gone through something. We had Marian Lopez on last week, and she was telling us her story.
Oh man, her story
she was
amazing.
Powerful, and how she got to this incredible. She makes cheesecakes, and oh my God! But her story was awesome. And so this month we've had some really incredible ladies that have spoken to us, telling us about their greatness, their stories. And that's, I guess, why women just, I'm sorry, as Beyonce say, that's why we should rule the world.
Rule the world, right?
Not that you guys can't do it, but
that's right.
The lady we had on before on March 3rd was Andrea Vigil, and she was inspirational too, because she's a female contractor in a male industry, an electrical contractor. So she was doing amazing. So you're doing the same thing there, where you're putting your material, your content, your story out there. Now, do you have a YouTube channel?
I do, yes. So my YouTube is my name, Deshaun Booker.
Do you put any videos on YouTube?
Yes, they're all, yes, absolutely.
So this would be a good start.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Say what you're saying.
I actually have several videos there. I also have a a live stream show where I interview women entrepreneurs called the Yummy Cafe. So that is all there. I also have another show with my brothers that we do called the Legacy Project, which is in honor of our mom, where we talk about how do you continue the legacy. That's on there. And all of my other programs and coaching videos are there as well.
Right. So the phrase that you coined there, Fiyah. In Jamaica, we got that phrase too. We said Fiyah. Fiyah means something outstanding. It's amazing. It's impressive.
I like that.
When we say, hey, this is Fiyah.
Fiyah.
That's what that is. So I love that. You can push that as your mantra. So when people hear Fiyah, they go, Fiyah? The hell is fire? Then you give the definition. You see what I mean?
I will. I love it.
Yes.
And maybe you can encourage Gilbert to create you a reggae. Gilbert was a reggae artist before he came to America.
Gilbert, okay.
and so our theme song to our show, Gilbert wrote, and he produced it. So he's a creative as well.
Okay, so Gilbert, yes, that's what we need. We need to hook that up, Gilbert.
Gilbert, the creative, right?
Yeah. So, and I keep telling him, because we all work very hard, but I keep telling him he needs to find an outlet so he can bring those skill sets and his talents.
That's right.
Because you got to have multifaceted, dude. So
that's
I'm always telling him. So maybe y'all can hook up and do something with a little reggae beat.
Well, now that you mentioned that, co-host, I'm thinking with the story she's telling, I'm thinking we could have like an instrumental rhythm and she's speaking her story over it.
Oh, I like that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You see how you can get into all these different directions with this?
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
So you just got a nice
in real time.
a nice little rhythm, and you just speaking your story. You know, say, hey, this is Fiyah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you might,
Crystal, you done started something, Crystal.
I know, because you gotta have a little, rhythm beat from the roots, girl.
I like that.
That's what the business zone is all about, Deshaun.
I see. Ooh, listen, you come into this room, you better be ready. That's
right. So is there anything you want to share with the audience, Deshaun?
I just want to remind them again that the show is Friday, March 31st. In celebration of Women's Herstory Month is also my sister who passed away from lupus, her birthday. So I'm going to be, of course, doing this show and dedicating it to her, Monica and Hammonds. But it is Friday, March 31st at 7 p.m. It's only $20, and it's at the Morgan Wixon Theater, which is in Santa Monica on Pico. I've directed several plays for that particular theater, and you can just go to DeshawnBooker.com. And then when you get to my website, click on the tab that says events, and you'll see it right there, and it'll walk you right through. And I am just gracious and honored to have been here today to share this vision. And I just want all of you to come so that we can continue to support each other in community as we do unity through diversity. And thank you. As I always say, live your life magnified. And thank you for having me.
And then the address is 2627 Pico Boulevard, guys. 2627 Pico Boulevard in Santa Monica. That's the Morgan Wilson Theater. Is Wilson or
Wixon.
Morgan Wixon Theater, guys. Check it out. $20. Only 20 to hear this amazing woman on fire.
Fiyah.
On fire. You are awesome. I can't wait. I'm gonna go over and get my tickets today. Reach out to my girls and see if they're available to come on out as well, so we can support you. And I'll make sure you get the raw version of this so that you can actually I'll convert it to an MP4 and then send it through
thank you
a platform so that you can actually do some editing with it. We're going to do the same thing and blast it out throughout our social media, but you can take little excerpts of it and play around with it. So and then be able to use it also in your promotion. You still have another 2 weeks before the event. Right. So
Yes.
so that'd be great. And maybe after this first episode, you'll take this on a run and you can get
Yes.
Gilbert to y'all
Oh
can
yeah.
have some conversation
Yes.
Oh
and on
yeah.
how you can create a little reggae music. He's very good.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Absolutely. I'm all in. I'm all in.
I would love to have been able to attend on the 31st, but that day I have a gala with the Greater Los Angeles African American Chamber of Commerce. So
Okay.
unfortunately, but I'm sure there'll be other shows that I could check
Yes.
out some
Yes.
other time.
Yeah,
So
right, exactly.
we enjoy having you on here,
Thank
and
you.
it's just amazing. And folks, for those of you who are just tuning in, this is the Business Zone with Coach Crystal and Coach Gilbert Buchanan. We're running the #1 small business podcast in town, in the county, and in the state and in the US. I'm telling you, we haven't seen any other shows like ours that helps to prepare small businesses to become business ready, contract ready, loan ready, certification ready, and nonprofit ready. We've got an amazing business coach here who dives into the DNA of your business. That's Coach Crystal.
I love that.
She gets that bookkeeping going for you guys. And I'm the guy who deals with the back office, the infrastructure certification, get you matched up with contracts. And we take talents like you see here with Mr. Deshaun today, and we take it in a different direction. We mold it into video. We mold it into a different style to make it happen for you guys. So, yes, this is the Business Zone.
Right. So going over to our channel, guys, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to grow so we can maximize and monetize this platform. So we need you to go do that. So for all of you that have been tuned in today, we would love you to do that. Marion, I know you've done that. Carol, if you go over there and do that. And Greg, we know you've already done that. And thank you as our field correspondents. And Greg also is my co-host on the community briefing. We had the Black Business of Los Angeles in today, and Latanza Price. And thank you all for coming in and sharing this amazing moment. LaRon Pierce and who else? Fernando. There's an amazing moment with Deshaun A. Booker. And you guys going out there and get your ticket and follow her, guys, because she's going to be amazing now that she didn't consolidate her day. She didn't brought all her pieces together into one.
That energy, that fire.
So we're asking you guys to make sure you come back in next week. We have another great guest. She is from Las Vegas, and she does like a one-woman show as well. And so she's been doing these great presentations. And let me see if I can find her information. I think I just loaded her up today on my Instagram. And so you want to come back on the 21st and check her out as well. This has just been an incredible month for just fantastic women that are doing phenomenal things in their business space. And we want you guys to just keep coming out and supporting us so that you can meet these incredible ladies. So the lady that's coming on, let me see if I put her up. Let me see. I think her name is I don't have her up right now. I have to pull it up, but she'll be here. So come back next week. If you go to our Facebook page, you'll find out who that is, because it's been running there all week long. So thank you. So Gilbert,
in April, we'll have Mr. Fernando Young on here, and he's going to talk about his business and his story, his journey as well. So yeah, we're looking forward to
actually, we're making April men's business month. So we're
go.
Make April the men's business month.
I like that.
We're coining that phrase, men's business month, guys.
Right.
April.
So our guest, her name is going to be Delinda Lane, and she's a speaker and an empower or a mentor and author. So she's going to be here, and she also does a show, and I think it's called Wow. And so,
Wow.
yeah, so she's down in Vegas, and so she's gonna be promoting a show. I think it's gonna be in April. So with that, so Gilbert, you think you want? I found a little short video of you playing your music. Should I?
Oh, really?
Should I share it?
Yes, sure.
Yes.
Oh man, there've been
Come
so many
on.
of those. I don't even remember some of them.
So I'm gonna share a little bit. This is Gilbert Mino Mix. Is that Mino Mix?
Yeah, Minnow Mix. Yeah, I love it.
Mino Mix. Okay, so I'm gonna share. It's a little short.
Oh, I'm ready. Okay.
So let's get the going with Mino Mix. Let me see if it's coming up. What? All righty.
I think you gotta rewind it. You gotta rewind it.
Oh, okay.
I love it.
There you go. That was Gilbert as an artist. I don't know. When did you make that, Gilbert? What year?
I was in 1981.
Wow.
No, 1986. 1986.
Okay.
So you guys want to hear
I love
more
it.
of Gilbert? You go find him on YouTube on the Gilly Buchanan.
Oh, Gilbert. Yes.
No, we got to get a rhythm like that for you, Nishan.
I want one. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Oh man,
that was such a treat. That was a treat. Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you, thank you, Gilbert.
Thank you.
Every now and then, he'll sing something and he'll bring in his harmony. But yeah, I think he needs to be out there doing some. You know, we always have to nurture our creative.
That's true.
Right?
And Crystal is my biggest cheerleader, man. I love it. I love it.
Right, exactly. Because everybody thinks of Gilbert as the suited and booted dude that talks about minority certifications and procurement all the time. But there is so much more.
They don't know the side of me. I love it. I love it, Coho. Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
You're so welcome. So I want him to embrace that side, because you know, when we're in our fourth quarter, we should be doing all the things that utilizing all those gifts that God gave us before we leave this planet.
That's true.
So that's why I'm sharing it. All righty, Gilbert. This has been a great show. Deshaun, thank you so much for sharing your passion. We have loved you, and we can't wait for you to soar, and we want to be there to champion you on and motivate you as well. That when you're on the other side and you're the motivators, like all of us are as coaches, we give everything we have to help other people be their greatness. So we have to, as coaches, support each other so that we can keep each other raised up in our greatness. Because sometimes I know you feel like you didn't gave it everything and all to everybody, right? And you come away going, whoa, I ain't got nothing left.
This is great, though, Deshaun. This is great. This is
Thank
great.
you.
You got
Thank you
talent.
so much.
Margaret Brown said, "Congratulations to you."
Oh, Miss Brown, she's been knowing me since 1995 or 96.
96. Well, we welcome you, Miss Brown, and
Yes,
she's
I love Miss
amazing.
Brown.
Yeah. All right, Gilbert, we ready to take it out of here?
Yep, we're ready to take
right.
it out,
So
guys.
he's gonna play his song and our song, The Business Zone, which is his rendition. And then we're gonna call it a Friday, and we're gonna thank you all for coming out to support us and also support this amazing young lady here, Miss Deshawn Booker. And please go out and get your tickets, go over her website. And there was one statement that I absolutely love, and you need to coin that, is unity by diversity. And it's so important that we all come together as a people and help each other to reach our greatness. So thank you, Deshawn, for being a guest on the Business Zone. And please feel free to come back anytime.
Anytime.
And we're here for you. This is and thank you so much. All right, Mr. Gilbert or Gilly Buchanan, take us on out.
We're out.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
That's right.